Interesting facts you didn't know. Only 2% of the population knows the answer to the last fact. If you want to know how much time you've wasted here on TikTok, share this video with your calculator, and it will show you. No one can breathe and swallow at the same time. 90% of people will fake laugh when they don't understand what someone said to them. If you hug your pillow when you go to sleep, you're probably missing someone. If you comment %tremors% on TikTok, your screen will start shaking. Honey is the only food that doesn't spoil. There are 7 people in the world who are exactly like you. The music you listen to affects the way you see the world. It is estimated that the color blue is the favorite color of psychopaths and people with mental problems. You know your parents your whole life, but they will only know a part of your life. If you comment cute and then cry, TikTok will reveal the secret emojis to you. If you're trying to fail and succeed, did you fail or succeed? If you follow me, you will become 99% smarter over time.
These are dark facts about space that nobody ever told you. If you've ever heard somebody say light years, however many light years they said is how many millions of years ago that happened. So if a planet happens to be 60 million light years away from us, if it explodes and we're just now seeing it, it happened 60 million years ago. So if another planet somewhere, I'm just using this one because it looks like Earth. So if another planet somewhere happens to be 100 million light years away from us and they're looking at us, they're seeing the Earth 100 million years ago. So if the Earth exploded right now, they wouldn't see it for another 100 million years. Yeah, I just felt like explaining that because a lot of people don't know what it means. It is said that if you were to send something into space, you would have a higher chance of winning the lottery before you find it. That's unless you're not sending a whole planet to space. You know, but who's doing that, right? Right. If you think about it, we just live inside this cardboard box, which is the universe, and everything outside it, we don't know. So what do you think it is? Think about it. Once you look up, you see black all around, like there's nothing. Then what's outside of it? Let me know what you guys think.
Did you know that there are fewer stars in the sky than trees on Earth? Random facts you probably didn't know. Now, you can see how many days you've spent here on TikTok, and only share this video with the calendar. Over 108 billion people have walked the Earth throughout the centuries. Why is it that when you close both eyes, you see black, but when you close just one eye, you simply see nothing? Toy Story was the first fully computer-generated animated film. I challenge you to comment any word without making a mistake while holding your phone upside down. Our breathing stops being automatic whenever we realize that we're breathing. You can't love 2 people at the same time because if you truly love the first one, there won't be a second. Adults are more influenced by people they find attractive. People who prefer cold over heat tend to be more introverted. If you type love face, you'll see a new emoji in love, so give it a try. If you follow me, you'll receive great news later today.
Really weird human body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. Humans are the only animals besides elephants that have a chin. Not even gorillas or chimpanzees have one, and nobody knows why. If you have a peanut allergy, that just means that you have Homo sapien ancestors and Neanderthal ancestors. And through all the inbreeding of the different species, you developed an overreacting immune system. Because your cells are constantly regenerating, you get a new skeleton every 10 years or so. I'm on my 3rd set right now. Hurts more than my 2nd, but it's fine.
Here are 8 creepy facts you didn't know. Scientists at Oxford University have been researching controversial technologies that could potentially extend human life and allow for the sentencing of criminals to 1,000 years in an artificial hell. This research includes exploring the development of drugs that can alter the perception of time, making an inmate's sentence feel like an eternity. In Noida, Uttar Pradesh, India, between 2005 and 2006, a series of gruesome murders took place. Maninder Singh Pandar and his domestic help, Surinder Kohli, were involved in the Nithari serial killings, targeting young girls and women. The remains of the victims were found in drains and sewage tanks near Pandar's house. Jatinga, a small village in Assam, experiences a peculiar phenomenon known as bird suicides. During certain months, several migratory birds are known to fly into trees, buildings, and even crash to their deaths in the village. The exact reason behind this mysterious occurrence remains unknown. The haunted ship known as the Orang Medan sent out a distress signal in 1947, stating that the crew was dead, and everyone aboard was in a state of extreme fear. When rescuers arrived, they found all crew members dead, their faces frozen in expressions of horror. Shortly after, the ship mysteriously exploded and sank. The incident remains unexplained, fueling speculations of supernatural involvement. Dao Hill, a hill station in West Bengal, is rumored to be haunted. Locals have reported seeing a headless boy walking on the railway tracks and a mysterious shadowy figure in the forest. The nearby Victoria Boys School is also said to be haunted, with strange sounds and footsteps heard at night. In some parts of India, there is a belief that the ghost of a bride who died before her wedding haunts the village. It is said that she roams the streets at night, looking for a groom. If she finds a man and he rejects her, he is believed to die within a year. Kuldhara is a deserted village in Rajasthan that has a chilling legend associated with it. It is said that the entire village, along with its residents, disappeared overnight due to a curse. Visitors claim to feel a sense of unease and hear whispers when exploring the abandoned village. Located in Maharashtra, the well in Belapur is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who drowned in it. It is said that she calls out to people passing by, luring them towards the well. Many locals have reported hearing her eerie voice and experiencing paranormal encounters in the vicinity. Like for more creepy facts.
The Chernobyl meltdown happened at 1 hour 23 minutes and 45 seconds AM. Most animals, including humans, faces are only attached at the lips, nostrils, and eyes. It's very easy to pull a face off. Typically when you do CPR on people, you break their bones and cartilage. There's a certain amount of body fat that it takes to stop a bullet, and it's about 60 centimeters of body fat. If a chicken eats the yolk in a chicken egg, it becomes addicted to it. Whenever TV networks show previous Olympic cauldron lightings, they always skip the 1988 Seoul Olympics one. The reason? They lit the cauldron by burning a bunch of doves alive, minutes after they were released to symbolize world peace. And it was all aired on live TV worldwide. Red phosphorus was discovered by a scientist after he boiled his urine for months on end, trying to harvest the gold in his pee. After months of boiling this urine, it dried up and turned into red phosphorus. He won a Nobel Prize for this discovery. The glaciers wiped out earthworms in most of North America. Basically, in most cases, you are seeing an invasive species if you see an earthworm in North America, and some do ecological damage. Brain surgery is done while you are awake and is only possible as the brain itself does not have any pain receptors.
Scary facts you didn't want to know. Thinking too much could actually kill you. If you sit in an old piece of furniture, you are more likely to be possessed. Hundreds and thousands of bodies have been lost at sea or buried, so you're basically swimming in a graveyard. If you have two mirrors or more facing each other, it makes a portal for spirits. Someone could be stalking you right now. A body decomposes 4 times faster in water than on land.
The Titanic wasn't found until 73 years after it sank. It was discovered with the help of a robot submarine in 1985 and was found 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the ocean, approximately 375 miles off of the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. Milton Hershey, the man who invented the Hershey's chocolate bar, wrote a $300 check to reserve his spot on the Titanic, but got busy with business, so he wasn't able to go. The chief baker on the Titanic treaded water for 2 hours before being rescued. He claimed that the copious amounts of whiskey he drank before the ship sank kept him warm enough to survive in the freezing water. The iceberg that hit the ship jutted out 50 to 100 feet above the water. The Titanic was able to carry 64 lifeboats but only carried 20 and didn't fill them to max capacity. Over half of the people on board could have survived if all the space available on the lifeboats was used. They waited for over an hour after the iceberg struck to release the first lifeboat. There's a microorganism completely eating away at the remains of the Titanic because of the rust. The Titanic's last lunch menu sold for $88,000. 20 horses were needed to transport the main anchor. It weighed more than 30,000 pounds and they transported it 2 miles to the train station.
New bathroom. Cool. Did you know that all the planets in our solar system could fit between the Earth and the Moon with about 5,000 miles to spare? So a lot of people already know that if the sun suddenly disappeared, we'd only have light for 8 minutes. But did you know that we would only have gravity for 8 minutes too? So theoretically, if we could take a mirror and send it into space about half a light year away, and we looked at it through a telescope, we'd be able to see 1 year into the past in real time.
God was the second most thanked person in Oscar acceptance speeches in the last 50 years. Saints Row, the video game, was originally called Bling Bling. There are over 10 quintillion insects at any given time on Earth. Big Bird from Sesame Street was supposed to go into space in the Challenger space shuttle as a publicity stunt. The thing was, the puppet was too big to fit in the cockpit of the shuttle. Canada is only larger than the US when you include water area. A deck of cards has a metaphorical meaning. 52 cards are 52 weeks of the year. 4 suits are seasons. 13 cards of the same suit are 13 phases of a lunar eclipse. Trichobatrachus robustus, or hairy frog. When attacked, muscles in its hind feet contract so hard its toe bones break through its skin and become Wolverine claws, making it the real-life Wolverine. In 1989, 1% of Americans owned 27% of the national wealth. In 2019, they owned 34%. In 2022, they owned 40%. In 1989, the bottom half of Americans owned 4% of the national wealth. In 2019, the bottom half of Americans owned 2%. Inequality in America has been growing steadily for 30 years.
Did you know that the cheetah isn't the fastest animal? Whales aren't fish, and spiders aren't insects either. Let's explore some amazing animal facts. The cheetah is the fastest land animal, but it's not the fastest overall. The black marlin found in water is faster than a cheetah. However, the peregrine falcon holds the title of the fastest animal on Earth. Can you name 4 flightless birds? Ostrich, emu, kiwi, and penguin. The sloth is the slowest animal on Earth. The largest animal is the blue whale. Guess which animal produces the loudest noise? It's the pistol shrimp. Lastly, the mayfly has the shortest lifespan, living only for 1 day. Lyrebirds are masters of mimicry, imitating various sounds in their environment. Colossal squids have the largest eyes of any creature on Earth. African elephants have the largest ears among land animals. Kangaroos cannot walk backward due to their specialized hind legs. The king cobra is the longest venomous snake in the world, capable of reaching lengths of over 18 feet.
Here are some facts about the universe that will make you want to scream. And if you don't question life, existence, and everything you've ever known in this video, I'll give you a cookie. If you didn't know, it takes the Milky Way 200 million years to do a full rotation. That means the last time that Earth was in this exact position 200 million years ago, the exact time that you're watching this video, dinosaurs were walking where you're sitting. What will be here around the next rotation? Literally anytime soon, the Earth's magnetic poles are going to flip. North becomes south and south becomes north, basically. When it does happen, we kind of have no idea what's gonna happen, and some scientists believe could lead to the apocalypse. Do you actually know how big the universe is? Same. But here's an eye-opener for you. It takes 1 to 3 days to reach the moon, but then 40 years to reach the edge of our solar system. But then it takes 225,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000, You feel really small too. Sure, if you didn't know any of these, Elon!
Squirrels get run over a lot because they're alcoholics. They snack on fermenting fruit, get hammered, and don't have the proper response time to get out of the street in time. They used to make whips out of vertebrae by feeding horsehair through them and layering the vertebrae facing opposite directions to make a serrated edge. isoamyl acetate. It's the chemical that gives bananas their smell. It's also the chemical bees secrete to indicate aggression. So if there were enough pissed off bees in one area, and you happened to be close to them, you'd smell like bananas just before you died. A sharp enough sword can decapitate with no pain. Sort of like how razors sometimes cut you and you don't notice until it's bleeding and then it starts hurting, but in this case you would be dead before your brain catches up. On the topic of decapitation, it's common for people to have time to make weird expressions between the time they lose their head and the part where they actually die. If an aircraft is too big that you can't cover it with your thumb, with your arm stretched out, then it's close enough you can shoot it down with rifle fire. You can't explode C4 by shooting it or by lighting it on fire, but you can by lighting it on fire and then shooting it. Actually, if it's on fire, you could hit it with a hammer and explode it, though only once for obvious reasons.
I'm going to teach you 3 creepy psychological facts that you didn't know in less than 60 seconds. If you're an iPhone user, you might want to skip number 3. Number 1. Gaze detection. Gaze detection is a phenomenon where your brain can sense someone staring at you. In some cases, our brain is wired to think that someone is staring at us. Number 2. Your brain can play tricks on you. You might see a monster in the mirror if you stare at it for 10 minutes in a dimly lit room. This phenomenon is known as the Troxler effect. And number 3. iPhone users think differently about themselves. This is not a creepy psychology fact, but iPhone users think they are better than most. They also think that their phones represent their social and economic status, which makes them more extroverted and self-conscious.
Five interesting facts about the Met Gala that you probably did not know. Anna Wintour revealed that the one person who will never be allowed back into the Met Gala again is Donald Trump, whilst playing a game of Spill Your Guts with James Corden. Celebrities who go to the event are actually not allowed to take any social media photos inside the event, hence the impromptu bathroom selfies. Onion, garlic, and parsley are actually banned from the menu to avoid people having bad breath. This is according to a report from the New York Post. You can't just buy a ticket to the event, it is by invitation, obviously. However, each seat costs roughly $35,000. According to the New York Times, since 1995, the Met Gala has raised over $145 million for the Costume Institute.
Here are 5 weird facts that I bet you never knew about Canada. Canada has 30 different national parks that are bigger than entire countries. Canada is the most educated country on the planet. The most common last name in Canada is Smith, followed by Brown, Tremblay, Martin, and Roy. The phone number for the country is 1-800-O-Canada. And the mighty Canadian beaver is the second largest rodent on Earth and can grow over 100 pounds. What are some other weird Canadian facts?
Trees existed for 60 million years before anything evolved to digest cellulose. For 60 million years, trees just grew until their shallow roots couldn't hold them up. Then they fell over and piled up without rotting or decomposing. Eugene Aldrin, the father of the famous moon landing astronaut Buzz Aldrin, not only witnessed the Wright brothers' first flight, but also went to see his son land on the moon in his lifespan. Opossums generally cannot get rabies. Their body temperature is too low for the virus. Also, the stomach acid of a vulture is so highly acidic it kills rabies virus and most bacteria, which is why they can eat dead, disgusting, rotting things. When a person receives a kidney transplant, they don't take out the old kidneys, they just shove them to the side and leave them in there. Cows can see almost 360 degrees. Twister was the first movie released on DVD. The Matrix was the first movie to have the DVD format outsell the VHS format.
Here are 3 random facts you didn't need to know. Number 3. Have you ever wondered what happens to cash if it's been burned? Well, you can just send it to the Mutilated Currency Division, where they'll determine how much money was damaged and just cut you a check. Number 2. You know the Twitter logo, this little blue bird? Well, it actually has a name, Larry. It was named after NBA player Larry Bird, because one of Twitter's co-founders was a fan. Number 1. Have you ever wondered why cops love donuts? Well, cops are known to work all hours of the night, and back in the day, there weren't a lot of food options that served overnight, but donut shops did, which led to the stereotype.
Facts about your zodiac sign that I can guarantee you didn't know. Cancers are considered the most dangerous zodiac sign. Sagittariuses are more likely to become famous. There are so many famous Sagittarius people out there, it's insane. According to a study that was done, Leos are the worst drivers and the most likely to get a speeding ticket. Aries is the clumsiest and most accident-prone sign.
Car facts I bet you didn't know. Number 1, you can use vegetable oil instead of the plain old engine oil. In fact, is better for your car's performance. And guys, if you don't use engine oil when you cook, why would you think is good for the car when is not good for you? Number 2, if you have a diesel car you can use gas instead of diesel, again for better performance, and vice versa. If you own, let's say a Bugatti, and you want better fuel economy, just put diesel instead of gas. In fact, there are no such things as diesel or gas engines, they are all the same. It's a trick that car brands told us, just to keep the manufacturing costs low. And finally, all electric cars use normal batteries. If you ever need to change the batteries for your Tesla for example, just turn the car upside down and put in the new set, and you are good to go. But don't forget to put the cover back.
Now, astronomers have found the largest hole we've ever seen in the universe. It's the giant void that spreads 1 billion light-years across. They found it accidentally. One of the research team members was a little bit bored and wanted to check out how things were going in the direction of the cold spot. That's an anomaly in the cosmic microwave background map, or in short, CMB. It's a faint glow of light that falls on our planet from different directions and fills the universe. It's been streaming through space for almost 14 billion years as the afterglow that occurred after the Big Bang. But instead of CMB, they realized there's a giant area way colder than they'd expected. The team started tracking radio signals, but there were no radio sources in that whole volume. That means there are no galaxies or clusters, and since it's so cold, there's no dark matter either, or regular matter, so it really doesn't matter. The giant void is empty, and researchers think it could consist of dark energy. Light can still pass through it. It's not the only void in space, but it's the biggest one we've found.
5 facts about the human body you didn't know. Your nose can recognize over 50,000 different smells. And whenever you smell something, you never forget it. Next, did you know it's impossible to tickle yourself? Go ahead, try it. Moving on, your brain uses around 20% of the oxygen you breathe. Meaning, if you don't get enough oxygen to your brain, there's a high chance you could get brain damage. And did you know the human heart actually beats over 100,000 times a day? I just find it so crazy. But what I find crazier is that you're taller in the morning than you are at night. So if you need to measure yourself no matter where, do it in the morning.
Dog facts I promise you didn't know. When your dog yawns, you might think it's a sign that he's sleepy, but dog yawns means they're anxious and stressed, and it's their way of venting. This might surprise some, but your dog is probably just as smart as a 2-year-old toddler. Your dog's whiskers helps them see in the dark. Dogs can actually smell your feelings. Honestly, now I just wonder what anxiety smells like. Dogs don't think humans are capable of making mistakes. So if you're walking around in the middle of the night and accidentally step on your dog, they'll just think you did it on purpose. And they'll never forget.
Facts you didn't know about orcas. There's never been a documented case of a human being killed by an orca in the wild, but there are 4 cases of it happening in captivity. Despite having the name killer whale, they're actually in the dolphin family. The name killer whale was given to them because they were seen hunting whales themselves. They also have a lifespan that can equal that of a human in the wild.
5 Family Guy facts you didn't know. 1. The voice actors all make between $175,000 and $225,000 per episode. 2. Bonnie Swanson was pregnant for 116 episodes. 3. It takes roughly 10 months for each Family Guy episode to be made, so they have to work on multiple episodes simultaneously. 4. Seth MacFarlane originally wanted every episode of Family Guy to center around death. 5. According to Glenn Quagmire's license, he was born on March 25th in 1948, making him 74 years old.
5 facts about dogs you didn't know. The fastest dog breed is the Greyhound, which can run up to 45 miles an hour. That's almost as fast as a cheetah. And the average lifespan of a dog is about 10 to 13 years, depending on the breed. But the oldest dog ever is named Bobby, and he's 30 years old and still living. Next, the largest dog breed in the world is a Great Dane, and it can weigh up to 200 pounds. Finally, if you want a dog and you don't want it to bark, just get a Basenji dog, because they're the only breed that doesn't bark.
Jaguar facts you didn't know. Jaguars are smart enough to use the end of their tail as a fishing bait. They wave it in the water and attract fish. They're also one of the only big cats that actually likes getting into the water. And they're even known to dive deep in order to hunt caimans. They also happen to have the strongest bite out of all the big cats. Rather than just suffocating their prey, they go for the skull and crush it. Black jaguars are actually the exact same species as the spotted ones. Animal facts you didn't know. Although hyenas look like dogs, they're not even in the canine family at all, and they're more closely related to the mongoose. The aye-aye is the only primate that's able to use echolocation. Everyone knows the giant salamander is enormous, but it can actually regenerate its limbs. It turns out dogs can see more than just black and white, and in fact they can actually distinguish between shades of blue and yellow better than humans can.
Weird facts you didn't know. In 1971, this thief broke into a house and was shot in the legs by a trap set up by the homeowner. The thief then sued for damages and won. Coffee was so important in Turkish culture that under 15th century law, a woman had the freedom to divorce her husband if he did not provide her with enough coffee. Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter in which he advised taking older women as lovers since they are both experienced and grateful. During the rainy season, the water in Bolivia's Uni-Salt Flat turned into a mirror that stretches on for miles. It has even been called the border between heaven and earth. In 2020, the Vatican censored a video of Pope Francis saying Scotch whiskey is the real holy water. Now just think about that and subscribe.
This is the scariest fact about space that I could find, because it is associated with animals in space. Have you ever wondered what happened to animals in space? A lot of animals have been to space, including dogs, monkeys, tortoises, and even a cat. Of course, most of them died painfully there, but there were those who returned alive. Those animals that did not burn up in the atmosphere continue their stay in space to this day. Some astronauts have even reported seeing their capsules flying in space.